Good morning or afternoon. It's afternoon in BC. So hi there. How are you today? This I decided I'd do a Facebook Live. I have a couple of people who are asking, well, what do your guys have to say about what's going on? Because I've been posting so much political stuff. So I thought I would drop in cards here. Excuse me. Check in, and I haven't done this in so long, but I think that I want to do it today. I know I want to do it today because I'm here, aren't I? I tell you, it's a bit of I'm a little bit anxious about it. So, Canada and the US is seems like it can be a little bit tense. And mostly because of Trump and his relationship with Canada. He wants our resources. And Trudeau is a strong man in terms of his love for the country and protecting Canada as much as he can. Now, some of you may not think he's been perfect. I'm sure he's not been perfect, but he's been good. On a scale of 1 to 10, I think he varies probably between, I'm hearing 6 and a 9. And sometimes he hits that 10. And I'm hearing actually he's hitting the 10 right now because he's protecting Canada. And so he's not reacting to Trump, and which is why Trump is doing the things that he's doing, other than when he did say there's not a snowball and chance in hell will be the 51st Street. Though some Canadians would like that, but they are definitely in the minority. So Trudeau and Trump doesn't like Trudeau. Trump doesn't like someone who won't back down. And he doesn't like Zelensky for the same reason. Zelensky's is not backing down. And now the latest is, I'm shuffling cards as I'm saying this, as we're going into this. Now he's saying that Canada shouldn't be in the Five Eyes. Well, strictly speaking, the Five Eyes are Commonwealth countries and then the US. So I really doubt that the Five Eyes will kick Canada out. So the man we're dealing with is a wild card. Definitely a wild card, who is suffering from something or other that impedes his judgment and his ability to make decisions in a way that's good for the US. He thinks he is, but he's, I'm hearing like an old man reliving his youth. He's has all this power and he wants more. He wants to be the king. And he wants to make that happen in any way that he can. He sees himself as being the all-powerful being. And who does he attract to help him with this? Is Elon Musk, who sees himself in the same way, an all-powerful being with all his money, more money than he knows what to do with. And yet he wants more, which is why he's inserting himself into the government through Doge, thinking that he knows what's best. But what he does best is slash and burn. And that may be fine for a private corporation with employees, but when the government has so many federal employees that impact so many American lives around the country, it's not a good idea. Is there waste in the federal government? Of course there is. There's a waste in your family's economy, finances. Bet there is, if someone went in and looked and goes, why are you spending your money on that? So what you do is you go and look and see what you spend your money on and then decide where you're going to cut back. You don't do it willy-nilly. If someone else came in and tried to do it for you and say, okay, well, that's that. You can't have this, you can't have that, you can't have that. That wouldn't work for your family in terms of you being able to do things. So that's what he's doing in the government. He's coming in and having these hackers come in, looking for words within the government sites and the different programs and deciding what they're cutting. And funnily enough, all these agencies are agencies that have been investigating Elon's business dealings, his safety when it comes to the rockets. He did have a rocket blow up to his cars, where cars do burn, and that's kind of been buried. He bought Twitter, which was a profitable business that's losing money right now. So he's really not the man for the job. But when you're dealing with a collective energy like you are in the States, when you're dealing with people that are complacent, and Canadians are that way as well, but our social system kind of is, our social system is very much different. Our social support system is different than the States, but we're having our own issues here as well. But that's part of the collective energy. And so the collective energy is saying, there's one card, is asking us to pay attention to what we're thinking, how we're acting, what's important to us, what part are we playing within our family and our community. Are we in the game, or are we just sitting back and watching? Do we have to be in the game? I don't know. These are all questions. So so as I finished off with that question, the card that fell out was not your soul, not a role. Oh, sorry, live your soul, not your role. And so this is what we can do. We all have roles in life. We're wife, mother, employee, artist, musician, and these are all roles we play. But our soul is here to experience many different experiences in life in its totality. And that goes for politicians as well. So you may ask, why? What is Trump doing, living his soul and not his role? And I'm hearing, but that's it. He's not living his soul. He's living the role as he sees it, as the Almighty. He didn't have enough power the first time. And he was a little intimidated by everything around him and the people around him, because they were intelligent people. But now he's not. He really doesn't give a flying you know what. So the next card I pick is Live Life to the Fullest. So why are you giving me this card? Well, I'm hearing that's all any one of us can do. We can live our life to the fullest, to be the best that we can be on this planet, and that's going to change the energies. And the card underneath that is Reflect Your Truth. So who are you in regards to your family, your community? Who do you choose to be? What is it, the core essence of your being, that is uniquely you? No one else can be it. Others may look similar. They may look like they have a similar, they're doing a similar thing or walking a similar path. But there are little differences, and those differences make a real impact. Those differences make you unique. Those differences are the ones that draw people to you. So everyone's got people around them, and you are, for some, you're not the thing. They're like, oh, she's nice, not particularly interested. She's okay, I guess. He's okay, but not my peeps. And so often we're just kind of looking for our peeps. And so your energy, I keep dropping cards. This one is Shine Your Light. So this just goes along with the whole thing I'm talking about. Be uniquely you and shine your light. And then your peeps will come to you. And I'm hearing when your energy is a little bit mucky, as mine has been, then how do your peeps find you? Because it's like you're behind dirty glass. They can't really see you. They kind of know you're there. You know, their being, their essence knows you're there, and they're like, ah, okay, but you're not visible yet. And so when you clean up your energy and shine your light, then you become visible. Then you don't have to be shouting out loud, trying to get people to pay attention to you, because the ones that will listen will just show up. And then they tell me, what do you think? And you'll have a conversation with them. And the conversations are important in life, because then you begin to understand that we're not that much different from each other. We all kind of want the same things. And the fear is driving a lot of this yucky stuff that you see out there right now. And the fear's there to be cleaned up. So, and this is the card. It's a wake-up call. So a wake-up call. You can see one eye is covered, and the other, she's like, oh, do I have to pay attention? So it's a wake-up call going right now, because this planet is not just going to end. You think that this is it, that we're meant to. There's an evolution going on in societies and on the planet. And democracy is at stake. And democracy will look different in different cultures and different countries. But the basic premise of democracy is what's important. And so, for instance, the Constitution, which hasn't been revisited, and people like to state the Constitution, I'm talking U.S. now, not Canada, verbatim. But that was written a long time ago, and they didn't know what was going to happen. They didn't know AI was going to be on the scene. They didn't know that guns could shoot off how many rounds in a second. They didn't know any of that stuff when they were writing the Constitution. So the Constitution, though a democratic document, I guess, is not democracy. Now, revisiting the Constitution, that would be a democratic move. And I'm talking about small d's, not big d's, for everyone, for the different lawyers who have expertise in that to look at it and say, well, how does this make sense anymore? Because a lot of it doesn't. And in Canada, we are going to be facing that ourselves, as our Liberal leader is changing and will be in another election. As Doug Ford in Ontario has called a snap election, and he's playing doing a Trump thing. I'm sorry, I laugh because I just think of him and I think he's just a comical fellow to look at. And he's taking his lead from Trump. He's selling his story, though he's had, 2-3 terms? And everything that he's selling, he could have done that already, but he didn't. So, and then you have Danielle Smith, who's wants Alberta's oil money, and good for her. Of course she does. Of course she wants what's best for Alberta. But unlike Doug Ford, who I think he's going to end up in federal politics at some point, which is why he's being more cautious, Danielle Smith is willing to do anything she needs to do to get her oil, because she thinks of it as her oil, Alberta's oil, down to the market in the States. And of course she should, but then she's not playing like Canada has to be united and this whole Canada has to be united in being Canadian and what we're facing. So apparently the tariffs are going to start in on March 4th, but I don't even know that I believe that, because they are supposed to have started already twice, and they keep getting pushed back. Trump needs what Canada has. And that's why he's so big on Ukraine. He wants the resources in Ukraine. He wants Ukraine to sign away the minerals for all the money that the U.S. has put in there. Though the money that was put in there was military stuff that was employed Americans building it. And then they were just getting rid of old stock that they would have to get rid of because it was aging out. So it was going to a good use. So technically, was it worth that? Yes. But if you took into account the jobs that it provided in the whole thing from beginning to end, the metal, the aluminum, the workers, blah blah blah, then there you go. And he thinks he wants that money back, and he wants a guarantee that the Ukraine is going to sell him the minerals and give him a 50%, I think it's a 50% kind of lease on it for, or maybe it's a lease on it for 50, whatever. It's ludicrous. And Zelensky's like, no thank you. And then Europe steps in, and Canada steps in to say, okay, we're going to up our game. So the States has become, and this all, okay, and that's what I'm hearing. This is one of the reasons that Trump is not happy with Trudeau, because Trudeau goes over and he's with the other European leaders on the 3rd anniversary of the Ukraine war, meeting with Zelensky. So Trudeau's got a standing on the world stage that Trump doesn't have. And when Trump used to say, the world is laughing at us, what he didn't understand, that the world was laughing at him. That was his first term. Now, I think he's beginning to understand that no one really likes him at all. And Macron, this lovely man, Macron, came over to try and, I'm sure, talk some sense into Zelensky. Oh, rather, sorry, Trump. And even corrected Trump when Trump was going on about the money that was spent and the money Europe had spent. So he corrected Trump and said, we're not wanting any of that back. So you ask, why is this all important? It's about democracy. It's democracy in Canada, democracy in the States, democracy in Europe, because when that starts to fall, then you leave room for dictators and autocrats. And the only ones that benefit by that are the oligarchs and the dictators and the autocrats. So the oligarchs are the ones that have all the money. And that's what they're after. That kind of world dominance. I think you might have seen on a Bond movie or I don't know. I'm sure there's movies out there that are that way. So we get to the point that Trudeau is on the world stage, and I saw him on the world stage. I knew when he got elected, I said to my friend, this man is going to put Canada on the world stage, and that he has. We are in a leadership role, and most Canadians don't understand how important that is, because now he has got trade deals going with the Europeans. Now, we already had trade deals, but he's gone to Peru for a trade deal. He's been down to another country in Indonesia. And so he's looking at other trade deals. So we're not so reliant on the U.S. Some of you might say too little too late, but he started working on this before Trump got in, probably in preparation for that. I mean, who thought he was going to get in? I think the election was stolen. It definitely looked like Kamala was going to get in. And I think there was some dirty deeds. It just didn't feel right. So, Canada. Where's Canada headed? So the first card here is make a plan. So Canada is making a plan. And a lot of Canadians may not appreciate what's going on right now, but the Liberals are making a plan, which is why Carney's forefront for the Liberal leadership. He's an economist. He's was in Canada at the bank and the governor of Bank of Canada during the 2008-2009 financial crash, and he was had said in an interview, like, why did you do this? Why didn't Canada suffer in the same way on the housing market as the US did? And he said, because I didn't understand what they were doing. Like, it made no sense to me. And I don't do things I don't understand. And I thought, oh, there's a man that is looking at a larger picture. This is what he does. And then he went over to England and just before Brexit, and he said to them, do not do Brexit. It's not going to be good for you. But they went ahead and had the vote, and now there's lots of regret over that. Suddenly you can't have that freedom to travel in Europe that you used to have and work in Europe that the Brits used to have, which is a bit of a shame. And it went both ways, of course. So Canada is busy making a plan, and it's not solidified yet. There's too many moving parts. And I believe that Trudeau was very smart in the way that he resigned the leadership. And then there has to be a Liberal leadership vote, and then there'll be an election. So he's given himself and the ones that are applying for the Liberal leadership and breathing room. And that's what I think Canada needs right now, is a little bit of breathing room. He's ignoring Trump's rhetoric. He's not responding to it too much because he's busy doing Canada's business. He's actually ignoring the political strife in Canada because he's busy doing Canada's business, getting it out in the world there. And those agreements and trade agreements will go on to the next government, whichever government it is, unless they're like Trump and they don't like it and try and get rid of it. But that's not easy to do. You actually can't, though you can, if that makes any sense. So, meanwhile, you've got PP in the sidelines. Grieve your losses. I love it. Because I think that he's feeling the pinch. And I think that's why Andrew Scheer is so much in the public eye again, is that he's jockeying to be the next Conservative leader, because PP is just pleb, how do you say it? Anyway, is gone down in the polls, and he's not a man for Canada. And he certainly doesn't have the experience or the ability, and that's what's important right now in this moment in time. It is this moment in time that is so important. He doesn't have the ability or the life experience or the political experience to deal with all of these world politics that are going on right now. He just doesn't. And Freeland might. She's been involved in it more. Gould, though I like her, same thing. She's not got enough experience for it. And then there's a French guy. I didn't even know there was a French guy. So I can't speak about him. And then Carney, who's definitely has experience out there with different world leaders. On the World Economic Forum, he's had a lot of exposure out there. Other world leaders are familiar with him. Other players are familiar with him. So it bodes well if he gets in. Will it be perfect for Canada? No, because there's a lot of stuff that's moving pieces that have to be moved in order to put us in the best position possible. So will we suffer the way that the U.S. will suffer? I don't believe we will. I think that things are escalating so fast in the U.S. I think that it's all going to just implode. It'll come to a head, like a volcano, and then people will be picking up the pieces and deciding, what does democracy really mean to us? What loopholes can we close that allowed this to even happen? Because there are checks and balances in government all over the place. And when you ignore those checks and balances, as Trump is doing, he doesn't care. We're fortunate right now that in Canada, most of the politicians in play care. Are they always good at what they're doing? Are they always making the best decisions? No. But you know what? I don't expect people to be perfect, provincially, federally, municipally, because they're not. They're just human beings doing the best they can. And when I look at some of the comments on some of the pages, I'm like, why would anyone get into politics? Like, why would they do that? And they always go in thinking, they're not thinking, I'm going to get, well, maybe Doug Ford. I'm going to get rich. But he'd already been into politics a little while before in another place, another area before he became premier. Most of the time they get in thinking, I could make a change here. I could do something good. And it may not be your idea good. They may not be on the same wavelength as you, and even if they are, their actual doing of it can be faulty and graceless. Graceless, is that the word I want to use? As they are muddling their way through territory they're not quite familiar with either. So it's you say that people are you want new blood in politics, and you do, but sometimes the old blood knows how to navigate muddy waters. As it is. So the next card, have faith. Have faith that everything's going to be fine. It's all going to turn out. And to have that faith, you have to kind of look at it as like a big play. Look at it from high above. Look at it like a movie. That's what sometimes with the news I go, oh, like really, truly, is this not going to make an amazing movie once it's all over and done with? The life of Trump, that they've already done that. No, I'm talking about what's going on right now. It's like a Watergate moment in the US. So if you look at everything like that, as much as you can in Canada too, and you look and go, oh, well, isn't that interesting? They're all doing the best they can now. Now the question is, what can I do? What can I do to help encourage those who are doing the good work? What can I do? Will I be one that steps up and says, I don't agree with you. That's not right. We can't be like that. Because those are the things, a lot of it right now, that is what we're being called to do. So if you're in a position where you see something and you don't say anything, that's an action in itself. That's a choice in itself. When you would say something, but you're afraid to say something. Now, I'm not saying put your safety at risk, but I am saying that courage is contagious, and if you say something, then someone else might say, especially when there's a group of people, and someone else might come in and agree with you and say, yeah, what are you doing? So that's how it goes. And if you're doing that and you need a bit of a break from that, that's okay too, because the choir sings with, and I didn't even know this, they don't sing the same note all the time. There's some, and they sing a note, and then it moves to another, and they sing the same note. So note, because they have to get their breath to keep on going, right? But it seems seamless when you listen to it. And that's what you can do now. You can step back and you can take a breath, and you can nurture yourself and retreat into your own little bubble for a while until you feel like you have enough strength to put yourself forward again and do what you think you can do and be the voice of change. remembering that courage is contagious, and be patient. These things don't happen overnight. Where we are right now hasn't happened overnight. It's a series of events that have got us to this place. And so time is moving really, energies are really fast right now, really fast. And so things are escalating very quickly in a way they never used to be this quick. And so you do have to be patient, but I'm not saying be patient for 5 years, because it's not going to take 5 years. I'm hearing by September, it's going to look so different, so very different in a really wonderful way for people. So, shuffling this, so very different. So, we did talk about speak up, speak your truth, and do what you love. Live from your spirit. And we talked about retreat and making your choices. Taking a step back. And accept what is. So as a final card, to sum up what we've talked about today. How about that? Let's see if I can get a final card that's going to sum up everything, or as best as we can. Accept disappointments gracefully. So yes, there will be disappointments, but they're not forever. They're just for a little bit. Have patience and know that this too shall pass. And when it's all over and done with, there's an opportunity to create something really special. Really special, because that's what we're all about. We're evolving. I keep dropping cards. Let's see. Be open to love. Be open to the love that comes your way. Be willing to receive it. Be open to giving it. But I'm hearing more particularly be willing to receive it from people. Most people that watch this are really good at giving love. Really good at it. And not so good at receiving it. So receive the love. Receive the good that is yours. And go out and just do your thing. And know that it's all going to be okay. This too shall pass. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. So long. See you another time. I'm going to try and make this more regular because it's kind of fun. I'd forgotten how much fun it can be. Okay, take care. Love you. Bye.